Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Man, there's a lot going on in Iraq. I mean, the budgets are being looked at. We have the agreement between Kurdistan and the federal government of Iraq, finally on hydrocarbon laws. So there's a lot of tentative agreements there. But what we're looking for is these things to get signed. So how far away are we from passing a budget? And this budget isn't for just 1 year. This budget tentatively is for 3 years. Let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $200, you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver with your order. Just follow the link down below in the description. No promo codes are needed. You can find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I do have my own group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, as well as foreign currency investments and any other investments you wish to talk about. Come on over here. It's free to join. Just follow the link down below in the description. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now Rumble. Yes, that's right. I finally got a Rumble. And in addition to that, you can find me over here at Pimpy's News Network. If I should ever get kicked off of YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these platforms. So come join me. It's free to do so. The links for all these locations are down below in the description. So come on over and join me. Over on the Pimpy's News Network, I have released video. This shows you footage of the January 6th that has not been seen by the public yet. It is over there if you guys are interested in going to see even more devastating video that goes ahead and shatters the narrative of what we're being told by the mainstream media and the left. It's just a shame that they try to get away with it. But we know that Kevin McCarthy will shortly be releasing all 42,000 hours to the public. And I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with. Boy, of course, you know I could not pass on reporting on this, of course. Iraq is not an Islamic country. Minorities protest Baghdad's alcohol ban as unconstitutional. What the heck do they think they got going on over there? The Iraqi government's renewal effort to prohibit alcohol is not only worrisome for Christian and Yazidi minorities, but also raises constitutionality questions. I mean, I guess, you know, if you think about it, there might be some benefits to prohibiting alcohol. I mean, it's better for their health long-wise. But as somebody who drinks regularly, it's not something I want my government to be trying to control, trying to tell me what I can and can't do. So, you know, to the minorities out there in Iraq, fight like hell, would you? Parliamentary finance. Parliament may need 30 to 45 days to pass the budget. This is what I was talking about. Just because it passes his cabinet, you still have to wait for it to be approved by the representatives. This is going to be interesting considering that there's so many different factions in there. So they all review it. They all put in their recommendations and changes they want to see inside the budget. So it's going to take a little time. So we went from possibly the end of March to easily the middle of April to now possibility of getting the budget passed sometime in May. If they need 30 to 45 days from now just to review it, by the time they vote on it, maybe the end of April, beginning of May. So not only do we not have a budget for 2022, but most of 2023 won't have a budget. So there might be a huge benefit to passing a 3-year budget. The Parliamentary Committee confirmed on Tuesday the need for 30 to 45 days to discuss the budget in Parliament before voting on it, noting that there is a political consensus to pass it. While it showed that the adoption of $70 per barrel in the budget is realistic and not worrying, I don't know how they can say that. You got to hope that the oil prices don't drop much. And they're talking about trying to do another lockdown on top of everything else. That could be really devastating to Iraq. The draft budget approved by the government is expected to reach the House of Representatives next week. And the House will begin to be discussed by the Finance Committee. And we believe that it will require between 1 to 2.5 months to be delivered. Yikes. Well, it is a 3-year budget. A committee member added that the Parliamentary Committee will discuss the issue of the fixed deficit in the budget of 64 trillion dinar and how it's covered. And there's a political consensus to pass a budget, and after considering its items and doors to start implementing what was started in the ministerial programs of the government of Prime Minister al-Sudani. The financial management law allowed the government to submit a 3-year budget, and provided that the first year is mandatory in the sense that it is approved, while amendments can be made to the budget in 24 and 25, which is a good thing that gives us some flexibility. The dependence on the budget on the price of oil being $70 per barrel is realistic and determined by specialists, and does not raise concern about the global forecast indicated that oil prices will stabilize by these limits or more during the current year. Well, in case people have not been paying attention, there's a so-called energy crisis happening around the world. We know that the UK has launched officially one of their first 15-minute cities. There are other 47 provinces trying to do the same. To my brothers and sisters out there in the UK, fight like hell, man. I would not tolerate that. So finally, the central bank issues third package to facilitate procedures for obtaining dollars. The Central Bank of Iraq decided in a statement received by the news to issue the third package to facilitate the procedures for ordering the US dollars, which include the following. In order to facilitate access to dollars for citizens wishing to travel abroad, the official exchange rate is 1,320 dinars for every $1 will be calculated through the electronic payment card issued by the licensed authority when used abroad. So what they're trying to say is the same exchange rate is the same in country as it is out of country. That's exactly what it's saying. And that rate is 1,320 dinars for every dollar. I keep hearing people out there going, that's not the in-country rate and that's not the out-of-country rate. They're just yanking your chain, man. They're making that crap up. It's the same no matter what. So the in-country and out-of-country exchange rate will be used to determine whenever they are traveling abroad, when they use their card. Prepaid cards, whether in dollars or dinars, are not linked to a bank account, which makes them within reach and with a ceiling of $10,000 refillable, and a bank and licensed electronic payment company have the right to issue them. So if you're going to be traveling abroad and you feel like you're going to knock out $10,000 in expenses, you're going to get a card with $10,000 on it. If you could justify getting more, they will refill it. Credit cards and the ceiling determined by the bank according to the classification of the customers, gold, silver, or platinum, with the possibility of enhancing what was used later. Debt cards, which are linked to the customer's accounts with the bank, in other words, an ATM account, including localized salaries, which can be used to pay in dollars according to the customer's balance with the bank and based on the official exchange rate of the dollar. The traveler's share in the cash dollars will be at least $2,000 starting from Sunday, with the possibility of using the mentioned cards to allow citizens to cover their request from the dollar and avoid the citizens from carrying large amounts of cash in line with the directions of the countries of the world to leave the use of cash except in small extents. Now, the thing that caught my attention about this particular paragraph is what it says right here. It says, in line with the directions of the countries of the world to leave the use of cash. You know, with one bank limiting people to $300 a day, people are like, well, why are you upset about that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's none of the government's business. It's none of the bank's business what the hell I do with my money. If I have $6 million in my bank account and I want all $6 million, give me my damn money. It's mine. And for people to be telling me what I can and can't do with my money that I deposit in their banks, that's a major issue. The daily sales of Central Bank of Iraq of cash dollars at their levels will continue without reductions to banks, exchange companies, and brokering companies to sell and buy the approved foreign currency for the purpose of securing citizens' requests for the reported purpose. In other words, they're going to be able to accommodate anybody that comes in and requests dollars up to a certain limit. The Central Bank of Iraq invites banks and exchange companies to communicate with money transfer companies, Western Union, MoneyGram, etc., to obtain a license to work in Iraq to meet the growing demands for personal transfers, with the commitment of the Central Bank of Iraq to settle their accounts with those companies at the official price. The central bank will urge these companies to expand their agent base in Iraq, and these transfers may include some type of simple commercial transfers later. My thing is, again, if you want to send money to somebody overseas, a family member, a friend, a business person, you should be able to send whatever the hell you want, any dollar amount you want. So it doesn't look like they're saying that wire transfers have a limit, which then circumvents the whole restriction on $10,000. So that's interesting. Gold importers, remittances, and credits will be covered for companies registered with the Central Organization for Standards and Quality Control in the Ministry of Planning. So for those of you dealing in gold, obviously $10,000 can be a very small amount depending on how much it is you want to buy or work with. So you can see right here, it says Houdini said the government has the will and serious desire to end the outstanding files with Erbil radically. In other words, get that agreement on the hydrocarbon law taken care of. So we know they came up with the agreement, but nothing has been signed as of yet. So Al-Rafidian reduced the amount of selling dollars to travelers to $3,000. So it went from $10,000 to $3,000. Is that right? Wow. Already, just that quick. Rafidian Bank announced on Tuesday the reduction of the amount of dollars sold to citizens through the port of Baghdad International Airport. Yeah, that's a little bit different. That exchange is more for small dollar amounts, nothing major. The bank said in a statement received by the news, a new mechanism will be applied starting tomorrow, Wednesday, to sell dollars to travelers at the bank's port at Baghdad International Airport. Now, this next paragraph is kind of jumbly. It says $3,000, $7,000 in cash has been set as the upper ceiling for selling dollars to travelers instead of $1,320, which is the exchange rate, and at the official rate of the Central Bank of Iraq. What I'm guessing they are saying, $3,000 has been set up as the upper ceiling for selling dollars to travelers at the exchange rate of 1,320 dinars for every dollar. That's what I'm assuming they're saying because it makes no sense the way it's set up. So it does look like Barzani is in a hurry along with Al-Sudini to get their agreement settled and taken care of and signed. They have been meeting kind of regularly to get this taken care of. The sooner the better is what I say. In addition to that, well, it looks like 30 to 45 days more before the budget could possibly be passed. And look, if you're doing 3 years at a time, you might as well take your sweet ass time getting it passed to make sure all the kinks are ironed out. Everything will be set for up to 3 years with the possibility of making amendments for changes if necessary. Other than that, that's it in Iraq. You guys let me know what you think. I look forward to your comments, and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.